So for our first gesture that I'll show you, I'm going to kind of talk through it. Gestures are fast, but this one's going to kind of be in slow motion because I'll have to stop and kind of explain what I'm doing, and then I'll do a few in real time without talking. Maybe I'll do a voiceover. I don't know. Okay, so I'm looking at this figure. Here are the things that I'm thinking first. First, I'm gonna look at what I'm drawing and not think about drawing for a second. I'm just gonna look and just notice everything I can notice about the figure. Okay, so there's a lot of contrapposto in this figure. There's counterbalance, there's a shift in the hips. There's a great arc in the spine. There's a lot of movement. So I kind of want to exaggerate that a little bit, emphasize that. Now the first thing I'm going to think about, I'm going to touch my page and try to figure out where I'm going to place the pelvis. You want to be able to fit the whole figure on the page. Toes, top of the head, everything. If I put the pelvis down here, I'm not going to fit the feet. If I put it up here, I'm not going to fit the head. So roughly somewhere in the middle of your page. So just touch your page somewhere in the middle. Okay. So I'm using Vine charcoal or willow charcoal. I'm going to use the side of my willow charcoal so I can make nice soft circles, not lines. I'm almost using it like a paintbrush or as if we're using ink wash. This is not a pencil. I'm not going to use it like a pencil. Sometimes I'll switch to something more linear, but this is like a multitask tool. I can cover a lot of ground or I can get specific. If you're using compressed charcoal, you can do the same thing. If you're using pastel, any kind of gray or black chalk, same thing. Use the side. I might switch to my pencil in the middle of the drawing to get little details, but one of the other main things of gesture is I'm not drawing anything smaller than a hand. This is not about detail, it's about overall information. Okay, so kind of towards the middle, nice soft pelvis shape. Right, it's not making a line. Something soft and fluid and changeable, right? I'm not making a hard line that I have to definitely deal with. So one of her hips is way higher than the other, and that's causing a lot of like tension in the pose. So I want to kind of sting my page where one hip is, sting my page where the other one is. And remember, I'm doing this one slowly because I have to talk to you. So let's see. So that's kind of the energy going through this pelvis. Now before I get into limbs and go everywhere, I want to know the relationship between the pelvis and the rib cage. Think of the pelvis and the rib cage together as this kidney bean, peanut kind of shape that you want to look at separate from all the limbs and say, what is that shape doing? So a line of action can help me find this. What do I mean by that? So remember the linea alba, that line of symmetry in the front. If I can't see the spine, I know what it's doing if I can see the linea alba because they're parallel to each other in the body. So look at that big arc that's being made by her body. So I'm going to start at the bottom of the pelvis and I'm just going to kind of create that line of action going through the body. And now I can kind of find where my rib cage is. Tilted. So now I have this torso peanut kind of shape, this soft kidney bean peanut, right? Now I can start placing my points of reference on the peanut. Anatomy is really important in gesture because if you see what helps you move, It captures the movement. That rib cage, that arc of the rib cage, that belly kind of swelling open, the navel. Okay, now I'm gonna get into the lower half of the body because I need some weight. I need figure-ground relationship. So I'm kind of overemphasizing the weight distribution of these legs. And it's okay if your gestures are a little overdone. You don't want them to be stiff and underdone. But if they're a little overreaching or wild and crazy, that's better than being too tame. At this point, for sure. So I'm bending those lower leg bones. You don't have to draw everything in a gesture. You just have to capture the main idea. I'm using a lot of opposite C or C shapes, like parentheses. I'm not drawing a lot of super straight lines. If I do draw a straight line, it might be straight through the bone. Always take micro steps back from what you're drawing so you can see it from a distance. So I'm not drawing a face. I might just hint at the head, the direction that the head's looking in. Maybe the jawbone kind of coming over. Maybe I'll sting where an ear is, or where an eye is, where another eye is. It's not about drawing faces right now. And that might be all the information you get within a 5-minute period if you're not talking the way I'm talking right now. Doesn't describe everything. I didn't even draw hands. I didn't illustrate hair. There aren't any toes. There aren't any fingers, right? But it's still a gesture. We're just capturing the main idea. So let's do some more, and this time I won't talk so you can see what it looks like when I'm not having little breaks and explaining what I'm thinking. Okay, so I'm going to be drawing a 3-minute gesture. Here's my model. I'm going to be using a pencil for this one just so you can see the difference. I'm gauging where the pelvis is going to go, drawing soft circles, and I'm going to use a box on top of the circle to find the angle of this pelvis. Now I'm trying to find the relationship between the rib cage and the pelvis to get that torso peanut shape. Drawing straight through the bone of the femur, straight through the body. Notice that I'm drawing transparently. I'm not drawing really hard so that everything has to be used. I'm kind of asking questions with my pencil. I'm drawing as transparently as I can. Now the pelvis is kind of the powerhouse of this pose. It's like the intersection of all of these interlocking muscles, so it's very important for me to capture that. Now I'm using very quick, sharp lines drawn very quickly to capture the tension in the tendons, right? I wouldn't draw them slowly. Kind of have to draw like Zorro so I can capture the tension of the tendons. Curving the lower half of the legs. Notice the kind of marks I'm using. It's almost like calligraphy. I'm not drawing with the point of my pencil. I'm drawing with the side of my pencil. You can sharpen your pencil with an X-Acto blade to expose more of the side so that you can use it in your drawing. Using very simple shapes, sharp marks, soft circles. Finding the placement of those feet in relation to one another with a dark mark showing where the feet hit the floor. Making sure I know what the spine is doing. If you can't see the spine and you can see the linea alba, then you know what the other one is doing because they're parallel in the body.
Now I drew that straight line to kind of find where the hand is in relation to the foot or the knee. You can always drop a straight line to kind of ask questions. Just capturing more of the attitude of the pose, using my pencil like a chisel. Look at how I'm holding my pencil so that I can use the side. I'm stinging my page where bone is closest to skin, capturing the anatomy. That front of the iliac crest and the pelvis. Using a lot of C or opposite C shapes like parentheses. Not drawing a face, I'm building a head, right? I'm not illustrating the face of the model. I'm just building the structure of the head. Few last minute touches. And there you have it. Another important thing about gesture is that not every gesture you do is going to be good. But because you can do so many in a relatively small amount of time, you can generate a lot of really great drawings pretty quickly. Maybe only 1 in every 12 of those gesture drawings you make will be any good, but that one will be worth the rest. Good luck.